Okay, we are ready to start this webinar. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, and a warm welcome to this webinar of the International Association of Youth and Family Judges and Magistrates. My name is Ursina Weidkuhn. I'm a former Swiss juvenile prosecutor judge and international consultant and Deputy Secretary General of this international association. With our webinar of today, we move to the Middle East, which is a bit of a rather unknown territory for our organization so far. And we are delighted to have two distinguished experts from Kurdistan Region of Iraq with us. So a particular warm welcome to Judge Amira Salem and Child Justice expert Shadan Tahir. Before we introduce our experts, let me start with a few words about our organization. We are holding this webinar, or we're doing our work generally, in particular, to promote the rights of children and to improve justice systems for children around the globe. And we can do this in particular by learning from each other, by inspiring each other. And for instance, by holding webinars together where we look at specific topics or we look at specific countries and regions, as we are doing today. The webinars that have been held in the past, you can find them back on our web page, and you find a link to the web page on on our site here as well. And from the webinars are recorded and can be seen next day with subtitles as well. Another work we do in order to promote this exchange amongst professionals is research projects. In the last 3 years, we conducted 3 different projects on the participation of children in different countries and in different types of proceedings. And more than 50 states contributed to this research, and including 2 judges from Kurdistan region. And another means to promote such mutual learning is also congresses. And here I would just like to mention that the next World Congress on Justice with Children, which we co-organize, will be held in Madrid in June, from 2 to 4 June this year. Also, you will find more information on this on our web page. But now let's turn to Kurdistan region of Iraq. Yes, and let me start with introducing our speakers of today. A warm welcome to Judge Amira Salem again. Thank you very much for being here, taking the time for being with us. I will briefly introduce you to the public. You have worked since 1999 as judicial investigator and became a judge in 2014. From 2014 until 2022, you were judge of the Erbil Court of Investigation and judge of investigation and Court of Investigation, for combating domestic violence. And since 2022, you're president of Erbil Juvenile Court, but also reserve member of other criminal courts. And it is in that function that we invited you to participate here today. Thank you for being with us. Then we have, we cannot see her right now. We will have maybe to move the camera a little bit. We don't see our second expert, that is Shadan Mohammed Tahir. And Shadan has over 26 years of experience in child protection with a focus on justice for children. She was employed by UNICEF Iraq from November 2001 until February 2025 in this field at the North Zone office. And before that, Shadan worked with Save the Children UK and practiced law for some years, providing legal support, representation and legal counseling to children in conflict with the law and to vulnerable women. A warm welcome to Shadan as well. despite now just having stopped working, you still devote time for the children. Thank you for this. Maybe we have to mute quickly on the side of Kurdistan. Thank you. Just again, a word to Shadan. I had the pleasure to work with Shadan a few years back in Kurdistan. And thinking back of this time there where we worked on justice for children, I remember very vividly my astonishment when I saw that Kurdistan, a semi-autonomous region in North Iraq, had a special juvenile court, had a special juvenile police, had special reformatories for children, had a specific law for children at risk and in conflict with the law. And this law was focusing on prevention, was focusing on early intervention and on rehabilitation and not on punishment. A law that was signed in 1983 by Saddam Hussein. So I took that with, I thought, okay, there is something here I wouldn't have expected, and there is a basis to build on. Now, how this looks like in current Kurdistan, what of this legacy can be used, what has been proven to be in need to be changed, we will hear from our experts today. And when we listen to you, we have to take into consideration that you are working in a quite challenging context, in a complex context, with crisis, with armed conflict. And also I remember that we had findings that still a large part of society seems to prefer to turn to an informal justice system rather than the formal one, as I can observe in many countries, but also seems to be the case here. So looking at these really complex circumstances and environment, we're very much looking forward to hear from you, two ladies, how your work has been shaped by all of that. And we said we would start with Shadan giving a brief overview of the context of the child justice system by Shadan. And Shadan kindly prepared some slides on that. So we would look at the slides structure while Shadan is presenting this first part. May I hand over to Shadan at this moment?
Everyone for their availability in this great webinar, and would like also thanks the association for giving us this great opportunity to be part of this webinar. So this is the first time for Kurdistan region, the government, we participated valuable meeting or event on justice for children. Justice for children in Kurdistan region is part of Iraq, of course, and it is applying the Iraqi laws in all the aspects of justice for children. When the law is called Juvenile Welfare Law, which is adopted or endorsed in 1983, this number 76. So legally it is called juvenile justice system, while globally the term is justice for children. If we look at the structure of the justice for children in Kurdistan region or overall of Iraq, it contains of two major agencies. One of them is the Judicial Council, which is the highest authority in Kurdistan region, and the second one is the Council of Ministers. I will leave the Judicial Council for Her Excellency the Judge, because she's much more familiar with the structure and everything, while I will focus only on the Council of Ministers. Under the Council of Ministers, there is a little bit complicated structure. It is engaged different ministries. One of them is the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs. The second one is Ministry of Education, then Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Health and also the Independent Human Rights Commission. If we look at the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, there are two, entities. One of them is the observation house. It is for the pre-trial children, and the other one is called the juvenile social reformatory. It is for the children who are sentenced or for post-trial.
Yeah, just next slide, please. Sorry, I just didn't give the next slide can be shown, I think. Shadam, can you just watch the screen and say when you need the next slide?
Yeah, please go to the other one. Yeah. This is the first slide, and then you can go to the second
slide.
No.
We lost it. All right, you otherwise just continue. She will try to start again with the slides. Okay, it's coming here. Sorry for this. So next slide should be, yeah. Are we on the right one, Shadam? Okay. Did we lose Kurdistan? Are you still there? Shadam, are you still there? We don't hear you anymore. Maybe the screen sharing is, yeah. I think they will reconnect. Apologies. Okay. Shadam, can you hear and see us again?
Yeah, thank you.
We lost you. You're back. Great.
Okay.
Just continue. We will see if it works with the slides. Otherwise, you just continue with talking. That's fine. Thank you.
As I see that the structure of the juvenile justice system in Kurdistan region is a little bit complicated. Because it is engaged or involved, different ministries and also high agencies as well. So as I said, it is two parts. One of them is Judicial Council, which is the highest authority in Kurdistan region. And the second one is the Council of Ministers. Under the Council of Ministers, we have, Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Interior, and Ministry of Health. And then we have also two other, structure. One of them is the coordination mechanism, which is called Juvenile Welfare Council. It is chaired by the Minister of Labor and Social Affairs, and the members are from different ministries with the position of either General Director or the advisors of the ministers. And we have also the Independent Human Rights Commission, which they have a key role or, critical role in the detention centers, having a regular independent monitoring on the situation of the children, and also responsible for complaint, mechanism that, support the child to raise their voices through that box. Under the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, you can go to the other slide, please.
Next slide, please.
Next one. Yeah. If we look at the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs, there are three entities. One of them is for the pre-trial, which is called Observation House. Whenever the child is arrested by the police, they will keep the child there until, the trial. And then if the, sentence the child, deprived from their liberty, they will keep the child in that, they will refer the child from the observation to the social reformatory. So social reformatory is belonging to the children who are at the post-trial. Then we have consequent care there. But, the structure is there, but unfortunately, all of them are not very well working due to some reasons, either for the budgeting or for the, some other issues, technical issues, or for the limited technical capacity of the social workers and the other staff that they are working in these entities. But if we look at the Ministry of Health, there are two, entities under this ministry. One of them is the health services inside the reformatories, providing to the children of pre-trial and post-trials. And then the second one, it is under the structure of the ministry, which is called Office of Psychological and Social Services for Schools. In the schools, in not all the schools, some schools that they have a very good structure, there are social workers. So the social workers identify the children who are at risk of delinquency. Then they will, refer the child to that office in order to prevent them from, crimes or getting into contact with the law. The next, please. And education, also providing education to the children inside the reformatory, but outside for those children who are, let's say, under the alternative measure, either reintegrating to the normal school or missing their own school or losing the opportunity to reintegrate that school, which is, this one is the most challenge facing most of the children because of their age, because of the economic situation, and the other reason that, they are not close to the schools. Then if you look at, the next slide, please, the third one.
That was the last one of this, I think.
Yes.
So one back then? Or we lost already?
No, I can't see.
Yeah. Probably would have been going one back, but maybe you just continue.
Okay. So if you look at the Ministry of Justice, under the Ministry of Justice, we have the public prosecution, Presidency of Public Prosecution, that provides, public prosecutors and keeping them with the judge in the juvenile court and then in the reformatories as well. And then there is also a committee inside the Presidency of Public Prosecution, just focusing on the cases of the children in contact with the law, to review the orders are let's say, from the sentence from the judge and review it, then they will share their comments with the cassation court for the final decision, for the final sentence. Then we have also Judicial Institute, which is providing capacity building and preparing also the judge and public prosecutors. And at the same time, also, if they have, capacity, technical capacity, they deliver also, this institution deliver the training to the social workers and the legal staff who are working with the children in the detention and the other entities as well. Then we have Ministry of Interior. This is the most, complicated and sensitive ministry in terms of dealing with the children in contact with the law. There is juvenile police centers in each of the governorate in Kurdistan region, 3 governorates we have. In each of them, there is a juvenile police center and responsible for identifying the children at risk of, delinquencies, and at the same time arresting them and then making the investigation, and sometimes also, let's say, mediation between the 2 parties of the cases in order to avoid, processing the child through the difficult justice system. There is also police academy, which is called police college, preparing, officers and keeping them in the police centers, ordinary police centers and juvenile police centers as well, but they are not specialized in their own work dealing with the justice for children or dealing with the children in contact with the law. There is also a training center. It is inside the Ministry of Interior, which is preparing, peoples within the police sectors, but not focusing on the juvenile. There were some training delivered by that training center that were only supported either by UNICEF or the other agencies from, UN agencies or international NGOs. And then, we have, as I said, that Independent Human Rights Commission. UNICEF was supported them in creating a directorate. That directorate inside the commission, and inside also the offices are based in the governorate to monitor the children who are at risk of violations, and then responding to them through services. But they have no exact services for the children. So they should refer the children to the service providers, either within the government structure or within the civil society's organization. Then I will give the opportunity to Her Excellency the Judge Amira in order to talk about the court, because as I said that she's much more familiar and knowledgeable about the operation of the court, the structure, and the also task of each of the peoples are working in the juvenile court. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shadan, for this. Shadan, maybe just one very quick question for the audience.
Please.
What you explained, quite a complex system indeed, is a main focus, and we are talking now mainly about children in conflict with the law, but there is quite some overlap with this group, children at risk, with also wider protection issues. Is that correct?
It is, yeah, it is, you are right, yeah.
So that's one of the things we are trying to also find out a little bit in the next hour.
Yeah. As I say, the structure is there, but not very well working.
Yeah.
And still there are gaps and needs in each of the issues, like, technical capacity, the capacity of the entity, the facilities, and also, there is no quite budget to cover the needs of those because of the current critical crisis in Kurdistan region. I think you know better than me because you had, the great role in the assessment and mapping system in Kurdistan region. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shadan. So, Judge Amira Salem, looking forward to your views on the challenges that you see as a juvenile judge in the juvenile court in Erbil. I hand over to you. Thank you. Now we have to see how we do that with the translation. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We don't hear at this moment. Two Madi Hassan are on silent.
So
now we hear you.
If you could mute Judge Amira.
Yeah.
Then you would directly hear me translating for Judge.
Sounds great, yeah.
So basically you can mute us all. Yes? Hello?
Yes, please go ahead. I think we can try. It's still a bit of an echo, but just try.
Go ahead.
And we look for the slides on challenges. Do you think it works? Okay, we will get there. No worry.
Yes.
Now we can.
So while she speaks, I can simultaneously translate. I hope there wouldn't be double voices.
Okay, great. And we also start the slides on challenges.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I first would like to speak about the structure of Judicial Council, which is the highest judicial authority in the Kurdistan region. This is actually, we have a court of appeals and also other courts of appeals, criminal court, first instance court, and also personal status law and juvenile law, juvenile court as well. And also other investigation court that we do have, labor court, and also we do have other courses related to other nationalities, for instance, other entities, Yazidis and Christian cases too. In the actually border of any of the courts, we do have a juvenile court, and that juvenile court is under the Court of Appeal. And in the Court of Appeals, actually the judges in two ways actually see cases. Some of them which actually are contracts in law, judges, individuals, in fact, can see the cases, and other criminal cases in group actually would be able to see the cases in a committee of judges could see one of the judges is the head, and also two deputies which are responsible, which are experts, should be experts specialized in the juvenile affairs, and also one of the legal persons as one of the assistants of the committee. And also criminal in the actually observational of juveniles. They actually could see the cases of the juveniles, and especially those which the sentences are within 3 years. But based on the law 24 Article 3 within the authority of the in which goes back to 2007, the law, in fact, it's a law that after the observational of juvenile law, that ultimately it has been identified that all the crimes should be seen by the district and sub-district of judges. They could actually see the cases and in fact work out on the cases. So the court of juvenile court in the districts and sub-districts, basically the minor crimes could be handled by those courts. The juvenile court, due to the fact that reviewing would basically see the decisions, and based on the law will work out on the cases. And also juvenile court, different complicated cases and also contact with the law that could be seen. And also in the juvenile court, we do have reviewing the cases of individuals. We do have the special officers for personal investigations and connected to the court of juvenile, which actually we have a specialized physician who's responsible in cognitive and like psychiatric, that when it is needed, psychiatrists, sociologists also will attend and will be part of that committee as well. Members of this office, under the suggestion of the head of appeal court, actually would be recruited and employed, and also behavioral observation within the Court of Juveniles, which this section or this unit is actually is for those juveniles would be under observational behavioral observations. Yes, I can. And they speaking of the punishments for juveniles based on the based on the law of juvenile observation, when anyone commits let's say a crime between 11 to 15 years of age, committing a crime which basically is the life sentence we will actually have alternative punishments would be between 5 to 10 years, and if committing a crime, the punishment would be moved for more than 10 years and would be an adolescent. We will put it in one of the reformatories between 3 to 5 years. And if an adolescent commits a crime that the sentence is less than 10 years, then the decision will be sent to their caretakers of behavioral observation, or would be sent to one of the reformatories, no less than 6 months and no more than 5 years. And if, for instance, someone between the age of 15 and 18 commits a crime and the punishment is a life sentence, would be put in the one of the reformatories between 5 to 15 years. And also, if let's say a teenager commits a crime and it was a life sentence, let's say a man will be sent to one of the reformatories no less than 4 years and no more than 7 years. And if, for instance, a crime was committed for a temporary, let's say, punishment, will be sent to one of the reformatories no less than 3 years and no more than 7 years. And in terms of the challenges, okay, speaking of the challenges,
so we can go to the slides of the challenge, please.
We can move to the slides of the challenges.
Yeah. And then
first one.
Remedial solutions and also alternative basically punishments that I believe speaking of alternatives is one of the challenges and also having judges actually do not have information about juveniles during the when working on the cases. So in fact, judges do not, lawyers, sorry, do not have information about the cases, and they cannot protect the rights of juveniles. So we want lawyers to stay with the cases from the very beginning, to have full information so that they know how to protect the cases, and also missing and lack of expertise in the all those people working in the field of juvenile, the public prosecutors, judges, and judicial investigators as well. As a physician, for instance, when they reach a level of a level, they will study board, and likewise, judges could study further and also be specialized, especially in the field of juveniles, and it's really needed because it needs a lot of work, and it needs special skills and expertise and also in the judicial institute, which we have it to, in fact, build the capacity of judges. They don't actually study the juvenile law and juvenile anything related to juveniles as a main part of the curriculum. So people do not have information about the juveniles when they graduate from the institute, and also actually the digital course, lack of such an online running cases online is also one of the challenges that we have, in which we basically in this course, in the webinar, they could see the juveniles, because it's really a different in cases of a juvenile court is different from the adults court working on the adults cases. And and in the video conference that we basically in the Erbil juvenile, this system is actually in the level of Iraq. It's the first court, and in the level of Kurdistan region is the first juvenile court that we're having. That juveniles in an online and video conference are trialed, whether detainees actually where we have a special room, I mean, remotely from the reformatories, or in a special room within the court, in a video conference, working on these cases. But while working on such a case, we do have challenges. In fact, and maybe across some other regional countries, it's something new. Video conference trials, and so we are in need of in one of the, let's say, the advanced countries to observe such a system, and to see countries which are using the system, what are the challenges that they have faced, legal constraints, how do they resolve those constraints, and also what are the laws protecting this system, supporting and protecting this system, relevant laws, and also so that we can develop and improve such a new system. But in the future, we need to learn about what will be done so that juveniles, without being referred to the court within their families, they actually can be trialed remotely. There should be a mechanism about whether a public prosecutor or social worker visit their home with their availability, the video conference happen, or one of the main objectives that we do have is the least number of juveniles to be to come to the court, and also it could be a child-friendly court as a family court we could work on it, rather than a basically punishment or and in terms of the behavioral observation, as a solution, they will be under observation, but we deem necessary that during there should be capacity building trainings and trainings to view the similar, let's say, the systems in other countries, to see how this observational unit could be seen an alternative solution to prevent them from liberty. So during contacts in law, those children can actually go back and live within their families, rather than putting them in reformatories, and which actually there is a possibility of encountering further problems and issues when they are sent to the reformatories. And also we need to pay attention to the aftercare, so that we can learn about the experience of other countries, that how and what they do, that juveniles can go back to their families as soon as they can, joining their families.
So I am also adding few points. regarding the
Oh,
challenge,
we don't hear you
and
much, Shatan, sorry.
referring also the comprehensive mapping and assessments.
Okay. We had a bit of strange transmission of the, let's try again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I would also add few points regarding the challenge, and referring also the comprehensive mapping and assessment on justice for children that was conducted with the support, technical support from the Child Frontiers, and it was also supervised and supported technically by Ursina. Thank you very much for that, and appreciated all the efforts that you did it in Kurdistan region for that successful assessment. One of the issues that was identified at that time was about the juvenile welfare law number 76 was enacted prior to the adoption of the United Nations Child Rights Convention. So if you compare, you know, this law with the international standard, it does not match with most of them. One of them is that, you know, there is nothing referred to the child witnesses and child victims as well. These two categories of the children are very vulnerable whenever they are involved or engaged in any kind of crimes. The second issue also, you know, the law does not clearly mention the role of the court and also the state of the power of the courts and the judge as well. So the judge, for example, if the judge wanted to refer and then take opportunity from the international conventions regarding the child rights, cannot be, they are not authorized, you know, to order the sentence based on that international convention. Then also there is no specialization for child justice. For example, we have no specialized judge, we have no specialized public prosecutors. So these things are missing in the court. Then the second slide, if you look at it, you will find, you know, that does not clearly mention the protection of the children and does not also mention what kind of risk that the children will face while identified by the social workers in the school that that child is at risk of delinquency. So there is no any kind of indicator or something like that to identify the cases. Maybe the social worker has no any kind of, I mean, document to rely on and identify the cases, then refers to the specific service provider. Then if you look at the also, you know, the policies in Kurdistan region, there is a child protection policy which is submitted to the Council of Ministers since 2018. It is kept there without, you know, getting back to the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs with their comments why it is kept for longer time and why they do not, I mean, the Council of Ministers does not approve that document. It is for 10 years, and there are 6 pillars in that policies. If they applied or implement that policies, I'm sure that justice for children is one of the pillars and be improved and strengthened. But unfortunately, due to some sensitive political issues and also critical, crisis, financial crisis, so child protection or justice for children is not one of the key issue or item of the agenda of the government. Then about the coordination mechanism, it is true that we have a high coordination mechanism which is called Council Juvenile Care Council, but that council does not work very well. And even the TOR, it is mentioned and referred in the Juvenile Welfare Act, but they do not follow it. Even if it is followed, it does not, let's say, align with the international standard or the Convention of the Rights of the child. So there is no coordination even between the Kurdistan region and the government of, the federal government. This is missing. But if it is there, I'm sure that most of the legal issues, the policies, and all those things will be strengthened and will be amended as well based on the international standards. These are some of the other challenges that the justice for children in Kurdistan region still facing. I'm quite sure that if there is some kind of technical support, either internally or externally, the government of Kurdistan region is very open and will be welcoming, those support, and also willing to improve the system. Because Kurdistan region is part of Iraq, and in one of the initial support that was initial report regarding the Child Rights Convention, that's the state of Iraq submitted to the committee, Child Rights Monitoring Committee in Geneva. They come up with one of the observation and recommended that the justice for children in Iraq is very weak, needs to be improved as soon as possible in order to protect the children in contact with the law. In the same time, also, they made a recommendation for Iraq, the state of Iraq, to create a tool or a mechanism within the Independent Human Rights Commission to monitor the violation of the rights of the child, either in the detention center or in the public places, either the child at work, in schools, within the family, and everything. That's why UNICEF came up and supported, the Independent Human Rights Commission to create that mechanism within the commission. To have power to monitor independently on the violation of the children inside the detention centers. And they have their own report, raising that report to the Council of Ministers for further support and response, then follow up on the actions. So these are some of the challenges that needs to be overcome as soon as possible to make a good example of justice for children in Kurdistan region, to be a friendly justice system. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Shadan. Thank you very much, Judge Amir. So you provided a good overview. We had some technical issues. I do apologize for that, but I think you made clear a well-working juvenile justice or child justice for children system needs, first of all, a law that covers all the children and all the situations we need. It requires structures and services, which you have, but don't all work as they should. It requires, as the judge highlighted, early intervention and support by a lawyer, alternatives to detention, programs, monitoring, and it requires trained staff at all levels, and it requires that all these then also plays together, that there is a proper cooperation between all of them. So a lot of challenges. You're not the only one with this type of challenges. There are others facing similar ones, but it's good to hear your specific challenges indeed. And now you also will share with us some ideas on the way forward, some ideas on how to overcome some of these challenges. So we're happy to hear about that too from you. And we have another series of slides prepared for that, or you have prepared another series of slides, which we can show when you go ahead here. Who will be talking next? I'm just asking because of the sound. We had a bit of an echo with Shadan, and we had with the judge a little bit of, we heard both judge and translator. So we can do with both, just need to be aware of the issues we face. How would you like to proceed? And also be combined again. Yes, Shadan. You are on mute right now, Shadan. We don't hear you. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Is it okay now?
I hear you.
Okay.
We have a
Yeah,
bit of
so
an
the judge
echo.
would like also to present the good practices as well, because she has been working with the UNICEF since last year, and she did, you know, a very good achievement in the justice for children. So I can also add, you know, few other points if it was missed in
Perfect.
that.
She can start. You can
So,
continue. If the
yeah.
judge is speaking, it's good if she's speaking at low voice and the translator at high voice, just that we don't hear them both.
Very good.
Thank you.
زور به یواشیش
Yeah. We can have the next slides on good practices prepared. In the meantime, yeah, they're here, the slides. So we can go to the next slide, please. And we do not hear anyone from Kurdistan at this moment. We don't hear anyone from Kurdistan right now. Okay.
Okay, you should be hearing me now.
Yeah, it's good. Please, Judge, go ahead.
No, no, there was an assessment for juvenile justice assessment in Kurdistan. Actually, that one of the sort of recommendations would say a child-friendly court, and with this, basically the help of Court of Appeal, Ministry of Justice, and also UNICEF, and also with the support of KWF, and that they supported with the video conference system that online training for juveniles for the Department of Reformatories in Erbil, and all that in a private and special room, this video conference trials happening, and this system officially in December 5th of 2024 officially launched, and the whole cost the German FW and with the coordination of UNICEF started officially launched, and a month before this in November we had actually a trial, and so far more than 660 cases online have been carried out, and trials took place. There have been lots of benefits that basically during the transportation of juveniles from the reformatories to the court, as you know, but every juvenile had to be accompanied by a car and a police car, and also a couple of people guarding those juveniles, and also transporting juveniles, you know, by security constraints during the transportations. They may face traffic accidents, or they may face basically other, let's say, victims may attack, and also it helps with the transportation and traffic as well, and the crowdings, and also from the administration, cost efficient and less. And also a big load on the shoulder of government actually will be decreased. They don't need to pay for transportation. And in the law, Article 63 says that the name of school, images of the juveniles, or anything which may identify children shouldn't be published. And anyone breaching this article would basically be punished, and within the same law speaking about this. So when while tied juveniles moving through moving them actually in the court while they could seen by people that would identify those children, and that actually would affect the dignity of children and for their future as well. And also this video conference will be efficiently and I mean doesn't need to delay the cases, and so within specific time the case would be finalized. And another achievement which helped coordinated and helped by German FW and UNICEF as well, digitizing the cases of juvenile court. Those cases would be protected electronically, and also so publishing and declarations and informing everything is digitized through the support of UNICEF and also the Office of Personal Readings. Before we didn't have offices officially, but now we've opened as a routine. Let's say we had a template filled out by a psychiatric, but after 2023 officially, after we suggested to the judiciary head of judiciary council that there is an office in every juvenile court opened and happily supported by UNICEF and some training courses for social workers who are members of this office conducted, and now they're very professionally working under this office. And I personally, as a juvenile court during the trials, benefit from the reports of social workers for deciding about the cases of juveniles, because in the Article 62 in the law of juvenile justice says the judge deciding about the cases of juveniles based on the reports of social workers. So this office, in fact, working very professionally and undertaking, running out their works very professionally. And during the trials, the representative attends and they give us the reports about juveniles. And also one of the good achievements and also another good support by UNICEF was basically a behavioral observation unit, which was a good one, that is reactivated. And before behavioral of let's say observation is different, and they had to come to a court to report. But now with the support of UNICEF, now they are supported, and behavioral observation of unit, they come and to the court and they visit their families to understand about the correction of and reintegration of those juveniles, so that children can be under observation in a better way, rather than to be let's say return to the reformatories one day. Another good work with the support of UNICEF that and KFW German with the support of Judicial Institute, and manuals actually have been printed out, and in the 5th of December 2024, this was published while the video conference trial was launched. We have actually a manual. Manual actually is about SOP. An SOP, all the topics related to the juveniles have been actually scattered in different laws, but they have been actually put together. This standard operational procedures helping us to let's say collect all the issues related to juveniles within one let's say SOP elected, and this SOP is for the investigation process with juveniles. And also conducting several trainings by UNICEF, by lawyers and also judges in the Kurdistan region, and also the reports from the social workers, the personal status unit had limited information, but with the support of UNICEF, now that report is also improved, which speaks about the behavior of children, and that report is being unified across the region. So the different courts actually use the same template, including all the information required about juveniles within that report, and juvenile court during their trials benefiting from these reports. So it was briefly some of the achievements recently we have acquired, and within the juvenile court with the support of UNICEF and also Ms. Shadan.
Thank you very much for this, Judge, indeed, for this overview. Shadan, you mentioned you might want to add something to this section as well.
Yeah, I think she has already covered the whole issues. Thank you very much for Her Excellency, but just wanted to add two things regarding the children associated with armed forces and also the children involved in narcotic substances, drug abuse. That, you know, these two children, I can say that are missing the protection to be provided to them within the law. It is not new, but at the same time, it is a new concept as well for Iraq, for Kurdistan region as well. Unfortunately, the children who are abused, involved in the drug abuse are increased day by day because there are a lot of reports on that. And we have no, staff who have having technical experience to deal with those children. Not only the social workers, even the public prosecutors and also the judges. So always asking for technical support. And you know that UNICEF has a limited also, budget and limited capacity to provide such technical support. That's why I'm asking you whether it is possible to identify any agency or any association to provide such technical support. However, UNODC, it is their mandate to support such children. Those are, involved in armed conflict or involved in narcotic substance. But at the same time, also, if we go back to 5 or 6 years ago, during the ISIS operation in Iraq, more than 500 children were arrested in the reformatory in Kurdistan region. In addition to those, around 2,000, something like that, were arrested in the rest of Iraq, especially in Baghdad. It was a very complicated, issue for both government, Kurdistan and federal as well, because it was new and there was very limited support for those children. However, through the advocacy from UNICEF, tried hard to release those are only suspicion, only, just having very simple issues and then been recruited, been arrested by the intelligence forces, and managed to release all of them. Only very few cases, around 10 to 15, were remained in Kurdistan region. But in Baghdad, I don't remember very well because I was not responsible for the program there. And I have no exact data how many children were released and how many children were kept in the detention center. We have there, and at that time also there was no special law to deal with those children. There was only an expired law which was called anti-terror law. It was applicable on adults, not on children. That's why that law was applied on the children associated with armed forces. Unfortunately, I think it was one of the violation faced those children at that time. And the children were also faced two kinds of trial. One of them was in Kurdistan region. Once they were released, they were going back to their own original places, and they're also arrested again by the forces, and then going through the same, process, or much more stronger judicial process. Then for the children with drug abuse, it's true that there is a center already open inside the reformatory center, but with a very limited technical capacity and financial capacity as well. However, it is true, but at the same time, maybe they cannot deal with those children in a right way. They will maybe, making mistakes, or let's say violating the rights of those children again. That's why Kurdistan region is in need of much more technical support to protect those children, those two categories of those children. So with the good practices, I'm saying that, coordination mechanisms, strong coordination mechanisms should be in place. Without the coordination mechanism among the line ministries, with the Judicial Council, with the Council of Ministers, without having also an amended law aligned with the international standards and also international conventions, that the justice for children in Kurdistan region cannot be improved, and it cannot be also called as a child-friendly justice. But there is opportunity, and there is a readiness also, not only by the government itself, by some of the local NGOs, but if there is a budget within the UN agencies, I'm quite sure that they will come and intervene in this, system, to support the government of Kurdistan government of Iraq as well, to amend the law, and also develop strategy for the prevention of delinquency, and at the same time also making the courts or the justice a friendly justice for children. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, also to Shadan. I think the two of you have really given the broad picture of what's important, what challenges you face, but also what's the way forward. The way forward, as you describe it, you rely on one point on the technique. Translator, maybe a bit less loud, we can hear. Maybe you go on mute. Thank you. You're using technique in innovative ways. Huh? You have the video. We still hear you. Maybe go on mute, everyone. The technique that you use very specifically in your case, also for interviewing, which in some countries, that we would say it's better if you're face to face with the child. But in your special circumstances, it makes sense that you consider this video conferencing, safety, delays, privacy issues, costs are involved, or you use technique for digitalization, which is, I think, also was a recommendation by the Committee on the Rights of the Child. You use guidance documents for justice professionals, which is another means, for SOPs, templates. You mentioned that's a good way forward. You improve, strengthen services, very key services, social work, probation service. We hear you again. Maybe, Shadan, you mute quickly. You're using capacity building initiatives, also another cornerstone for various services. You repeatedly mentioned the cooperation issue, which is key. And then you even mentioned this very particularly difficult, challenging, and vulnerable group of children associated with armed forces or drug-related crimes, which are to some degree treated or falling under a similar concept. which is also related with a lot of stigma, I believe, with a lot of security concerns, which we all also understand, where we always have to think, does the normal specialized separate system also apply for this group of children? And the reply must be yes, it does. It is particularly important that we find solutions for this group of children. Maybe we have to adapt things. Yes, we cannot overlook security concerns, but basically it's most important that we find ways to reintegrate these most at risk, let's say, children, in the interest of all of us in the end. So who would provide support there? I think you managed, you mentioned Shadan, that is mainly, UNODC has done a lot of work on that topic. Maybe we can also continue with peer exchange here, in this setting, in another setting, in other states, regions who have similar issues that we learn from each other here or in conferences. Similarly, as the judge was suggesting, we can have more exchange on experiences with the technique you have introduced. What do others say about it? And if you go in our webinar section, I think there are, this topic has been dealt with also during COVID times, so we can also go back and look at this again, what has been collected so far. Now we are running out of time. I would like to just close here with maybe if you would like Judge or Sanem or Shadan to have just the last word here, please. I would hand over to you, but you don't have to. But if you would like to close the session with a last message to us. Now everyone is on mute. Yeah, I see you coming in. Thanks.
I'm looking forward for your support for our courts to actually have mutually capacity building trainings for public prosecutors, judicial investigators, police, and judges working in the field of juveniles, both in and out, outside field visits as well, field visit studies in other countries as well, so that we could, as mentioned, see their video conference and webinar the cases to hear from their challenges and also asking for mutual and continuous coordinations for another SOP for children during the basically trialing and also investigations with juveniles, and one for also the office for initial reports of, because basically there are little resources about the officers writing initial reports about juveniles, because even those people who are working in those offices are not specialized. So we could develop SOPs for them as well. And also we would ask for amending the law of juvenile observation and juvenile justice law, so that it could meet the contemporary development and changes, and because as Ms. Shradan mentioned, it goes back to 1983, and this actually needs to be amended, and the areas, there are lots of areas which needs to be amended, seeing and cases by special delegation of and committee, which I personally believe that doesn't protect the rights of juveniles, because for adults we have 3 courts seeing the cases, and juveniles and the rights of juveniles is prior to the rights of adults, and there are several other suggestions actually we have for amending the laws, but thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity and participating, and we benefited from the information mentioned, and we hope that we will continue these, let's say, meetings, and I'll be very happy to be a member within your organization, and so I would like actually to learn about the procedures that I could learn about to become a member of your associations, that I could hear from you what are the requirements and procedures to become a member of your association. Thank you. Thank you again, and it was a good opportunity. Very happy.
Thank you very much indeed for your time and professional inputs. Shadan, would you like to say a word as well, or would you hand over to the judge? As you wish. I don't hear. I don't hear you, Shadan. Mute.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Now it's good. Yes. Now you're frozen.
One point, to what have been mentioned by Her Excellency Judge Amira. One of them is about, how can we support the government of Kurdistan region in creating informal justice to avoid the children to go through that long process of official formal justice. This will be, I think, supporting the child and also the government in terms of the cost, the risk, the security issues, and also deprivation of liberty, all these issues. And then restorative justice and diversion also, these are two other issues that we should be considered and should be also included in the amended law. Because it is missing at the moment. However, a lot of efforts been done through the capacity building. Familiarize the peoples within that issue, but unfortunately it is not applicable because it is missing in the current applicable law. Then the last issue is about that there is a social integration program going inside the reformatory center. But it is true that we do have that, program. But still, some issues are missing in. For example, if the child went through that process, once they are released, she or he will be disconnected with that program, because released before the completion of that reintegration program. And then if it is completed even within the reformatories, there will be no job opportunity for them. If there is no opportunity for them, I'm quite sure that some of the cases will be returned again with another crime, and then they will be growing and above 18 years, then the crime will be much more disaster for them. Arresting them again, keeping them not in the juvenile reformatory, they will be kept in the adult reformatory, the worst place for the peoples in Kurdistan region. This should be considered, but I don't know how can we support them. That I am retired at the moment, and I have no any kind of authority to ask the UNICEF and the other agencies at the moment. What we should try to support the government of Kurdistan region to build their own capacity on advocacy issues. How can they, let's say, try for fundraising within the agencies, within the international agencies? If there is fund for them to support the capacity building, I am sure that everything will be improved. There is no matter whether there is a good place or not, but if there is a capacity within a very limited fund, they could be working and also strengthening the system very well. So this is what is missing by the government of Kurdistan. No skill in advocacy, no skill in fundraising. Thank you. Hope it will be considered, because that informal justice, restorative justice, diversion will be helpful for the juvenile justice, for the justice for children. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Shadan. Indeed, nothing works without money, and at least there are many good ideas. There is a lot of experience already, There is a commitment there as well from individuals. I find wherever I work, that is a key ingredient to moving anything somewhere forward. And in the end, as you mentioned, we need holistic results, not something that is just for today, but no, it must be stable. The juvenile must have a future. And I think with that, we can close it here for today, but we will be in contact and see how we can work together and we have more peer exchanges. How to become a membership, we will talk about that separately. It's also indicated on our web page. We'll have to see if it works properly and then move forward from there. For now, thank you very, very much indeed for your time and experience and having shared all of this with us. And I wish you a very bright future, a lot of hope and good steps forward, whatever comes next.
Thank you. Thank you very much for everything and for the organizer of this, webinar. Thanks for Eva as well. And you did not forget, Kurdistan region to be part of, of a special webinar for Kurdistan region. Thanks a lot. It was a great opportunity to share what we are challenging, what is the good practices, and the way forward for improvement, much more improvement. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed to both of you. Stay very well.
لميش هو أمن زور حظ ذكر زناب تعمل بينو بناسم لنزيكوا بلو شادان حظور بس
Vale.
زور لميش
Of course, it was a while since I wanted actually to talk to you and have a meeting, because Shadan actually talked a lot about your work in Kurdistan region, and I was looking forward actually to meeting with you, and we hope that as soon as possible we could have a face-to-face meeting as well. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It would be a great pleasure. Thank you very much. And for now, I say goodbye to everyone. Merci. Thank you very much.
Thanks
All
for it as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Merci.